What's up, everybody? Today I am talking about you potentially being the heir to the throne. What do I mean by that? There is a massive opportunity to buy businesses in 2023 going into 2024. The average age of a business owner is 50. And there are 33 million businesses in America. So that means almost 16 to 17 million businesses are owned by somebody who's looking to get out of that business within 5 years. If the average age is 50, that means there's a lot of business owners in their 60s, potentially 70s, that are looking to exit and get out of their business. The common excuse that people say is, well, there's probably already an heir to the throne. There's probably a kid, maybe the business owner's son or daughter that's going to take over the business. It's a common excuse that I see. Or there's a current employee that's looking to buy out the owner. But in reality, a lot of times the kids of the business owners want to have nothing to do with the family business. They've seen their dad or their mom in it. They've seen the time it's taken away from them. But they've also seen the money that they've made from it. So a lot of times they don't really understand how great of opportunity they have. So they go and usually move away. So usually family-run businesses, the next generation does not take over that business. As far as employees in the business, a lot of employees there's a reason they're employees. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to be an owner because that involves them having that pressure that they don't want. They don't want to have to fire people. They don't want to have to hire people. They don't want to have those hard salary discussions of keeping the expenses low. They don't want to deal with that. They want to come in at 8 and leave at 5 and not have the phone calls continuing to call them. They don't want to be the backstop. Every time I'm an owner, I own a business, I always get the last call. The sky is falling. The house is burning down. We need your help. As the owner, you are the backstop. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because there is a massive opportunity in which you can take over these people's businesses. A lot of people think, here's another excuse, well, there's probably a larger company out there that's out there gobbling up companies. They're buying smaller companies, they're packaging them up. Yes, that is happening, but a lot of owners are not wanting to sell to somebody who's going to come in their business and change everything or change their name. A lot of these guys are legacy people. And a legacy person cares about the business that they've built the last 30 years. They want to continue to see that their business grows, that the name is still out there, that their mission, their legacy that they've built continues to move on year after year. And they know that if they sell to a big corporation, a guy in a suit, that's all going to go away. They don't want to sell to a suit. They want to sell to a human being. So how can you take advantage of this opportunity? Well, the best thing you can do, and if you're looking to start a business, let's say you're an entrepreneur, say, hey, I want to start a business. I just don't know where to start. I can't think of a good business idea. Maybe you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Maybe you don't have to start from scratch. Maybe you can find somebody locally, and I'm going to tell you how you can approach that person and end up buying out that business with none of your own money. With zero money down, you can buy this business, and I'm going to tell you this approach right now. But the first thing you need to do is you need to commit to saying, hey, maybe the answer isn't go start a business. It's to buy somebody out. So the best approach that I've seen with this, and I've had success connecting with other owners and seeing if they want to sell in my line of business. I own an insurance agency. The average age in our industry is actually 59. So a lot of people are looking to get out of our industry. So there's a massive opportunity that I've been trying to take advantage of as well. The biggest success that I've had is that I have cold called. And a lot of you guys are probably going to turn away from the video now because I said cold call. Well, cold calling is the most successful tactic I've ever used to get revenue in my business, to get acquisition opportunities, to get networking opportunities. Everything, I would say 70 to 80% of the revenue from my business has came from a cold call. But so many people are scared of rejection. They're scared of rejection because they think they're not good enough. And let me tell you today, you cannot get anywhere in life unless you're not able to be afraid of rejection, okay? You can't be afraid of being told no, okay? Because you're assuming that your time is their time. Your timeline of what you're wanting them to sell their business to you, you're assuming that that person should be on the same timeline as you. That's not what usually is going to happen, especially with this. This is going to be a longer term timeline. Well, that being said, then you need to pack your pipeline. If you have more people in your pipeline, if you've called 1,000 business owners and you've called 100 versus 1,000, well, you're going to have a lot more opportunities with 1,000. It's getting the reps, and guess what? You're going to get better at cold calling the more that you cold call. I always say, somebody says, hey, how do you cold call? What's your tactic? What training did you take? You know what training I took? I picked up the phone 3,000 times my first year in business, which led to a ton of revenue. That's the training I got. I put my foot in my mouth. I said things that I shouldn't. Maybe, that didn't work out. Maybe I should say this. You know what I came down to? The simplest approach is the best. Hi, my name's Nate Jones. I am here locally, and I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, and I was just interested to see if you were looking to exit your business. I would be interested in buying your business. I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm wanting to buy a business. And would you be interested in have a conversation about me potentially buying your business? Boom. That's it. You're being yourself. There's no tactic. There's no sales pitch. It's you. It's you because that's what's going to sell. Okay. And the reason that you should be you is because when you're sitting down with that owner, being yourself is what is going to work. Okay. Because when you're yourself, you can know if you're going to vibe with that other person. Because with the tactic that I'm going to share to you, it's going to rely on you having a workable relationship with the owner. And what that means is you're going to have that relationship with him year over year while you're continuing to pay him back, okay? So let's go through the tactic you're going to use. It's called owner financing. Owner financing is saying, hey, let's agree on a purchase price and let me pay you that purchase price over a number of years while you're transitioning out of the business. So let's say you agree on a purchase price of $1 million. Right? And you say, I'm going to pay you back over 10 years, right? Okay. And then the first year, we might keep you on as a salary, a lower salary where you're going to be part-time. Second year, you're going to be even more part-time. And then by year 3, you're going to be out. And the next 7 years, you're paying that owner that $100,000 a year. So $1 million divided by 10 years is $100,000. So that first year you're paying them $100,000 plus the salary. So that first year is going to be rough. But the reason this is such a great idea is because if there's profit in the business, okay? So if there's profit in the business, you can pay him back with his own money, right? Let's say the profit is $300,000. The profit's $300,000. You're paying him under $100,000. You're paying him also. Let's say the profit's $200,000, right? You're paying him $100,000 a year plus that $50,000 salary. You're netting $50,000, right? You're like, oh, that sucks. I'm netting $50,000. But the next year, now you're netting $100,000, and then you're paying him every year, and you're making $100,000. Now, the only way this makes sense on any business you buy, and I'm going to tell you my expert advice, any business you buy, you should have the hopes of growing that business. You should not buy a business unless you think you're going to grow it. Why is that? Because the numbers just really don't make sense that you buy a business and you don't grow it. Okay? Because if you're not growing a business, what I've seen, if you're not growing the business is shrinking. It's really hard to buy a business and it just maintains the way it is. Usually you're going to have to grow it or it's going to shrink a little bit. And if it shrinks a little bit, that's where your little sliver of owner financing isn't going to make sense. So when you run the numbers, it should be as simple as how much am I paying them back every year? How much am I still netting in profit? And the biggest secret to buying someone else's business is trimming the fat. Private equity companies do this. Tons of businesses do this. They come in and they say, where are the inefficiencies? And the biggest way to look for inefficiencies is number one is staffing. A lot of people are carrying employees that they really shouldn't because they're scared of letting them go. What I mean by that is maybe the owner's secretary, she's not very good and she probably should be fired, but it's the owner's best friend's wife. So he can't fire her because if he does, his friend's going to be mad at him. And he's like, you know what? She's not really worth it, but she does all right? That's a person you need to let go, and you need to replace her with somebody who's a little bit more efficient. So there's fat in staffing, there's fat in expenses. So maybe there's some expenses that you can clean out and potentially add a little bit more streamlined approach to. There's always expenses you can clean out, and if the owner's leaving, there's a lot of personal expenses that you can kind of take out of him because you're saying, hey, I'm paying you $100,000 a year. No longer are we having your car payment on the business anymore. That's in a personal expense that is outside of the business now that I own it. Okay, so trimming the fat, and also usually if an owner is at the end of his ownership career, he's usually coasting. If you're getting ready to retire, you're in your 60s, you've grinded, and every 60-year-old that I know that owns a business, most of them, are not grinding. They're not hitting the pavement every day. You, as somebody who's coming in, you can go out there and grind and nurture those current clients, nurture those current relationships and say, hey, I know in the past we've been a little slow to get back with you, but today we're changing things around and we are quick and our service is great and we're ready to expand. That's why I say it makes sense if you can find a business in which there's an opportunity to grow. Maybe you're looking in there and I would say a good idea is to say, okay, I'm interested in buying you out. You're interested in selling with me. This is kind of the ballpark price. But before we do that, can I come sit in your business for a week? Just sit there. I did this with one company before I bought it, and I sat there and I looked around and I really tried to pay attention. I dug into what they were doing, and I started seeing some things in which I could improve, in which things that I could really bring back some revenue, maybe cut out some expenses here. I saw some inefficiencies that I was doing better in my business, and I was able to see that. Now, some of them, if you do that, you may say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that they were doing this. This doesn't make sense to buy. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Then you saved yourself some time. So go sit in that business and say, hey, I don't need to be paid to be here. I just want to be a fly on the wall and listen to what's going on. Okay. So owner financing, it's a huge thing because you don't have to pay any money. Now, some owners may want you to pay a little bit more than the purchase price every year based on an interest. So they might say, hey, I want 6% interest because I'm carrying the note. Okay, then you might be paying them $106,000 a year because they're carrying that interest for you. Some of them may want some money down. Even if they want some money down, you potentially could finance that. But the nice thing about owner financing is they're carrying that note and they have a little bit of skin in the game to make sure that you continue to be successful. It's important to leave that owner on to transition things if you're not used to that business. If you never ran that business, you never worked in that industry, super important to keep that owner on for at least a year so you can ask him questions, learn how he does things. There's a reason he's been doing it for 30 years. I said you can trim some fat, but I also say that owner has been doing it for 30 years, so he knows what works and what doesn't. So the nice thing about keeping him on is you can pitch ideas to him and really see if there's merit behind why he didn't do that. A lot of people think that they can come into a business, turn it around, and flip it and run it and ready to go. But a lot of these old guys, they understand that, hey, I tried that before. These are the things that you need to look out for. You could go that route, but watch out for this, right? It's good to have wisdom in your corner, and I would say you want to pay for that your first year. So if you have to keep them on salary, keep them around. It's a great thing to transition that with current employees and transition that with clients, okay? So as you're doing this, continue to reach out to owners, continue to get opportunities. And if you reach out to 1,000 business owners, you will get an opportunity locally. There are so many owners out there that want to continue on their legacy. They want to continue on what they believe in. And if they see a young, hungry person, or not even a young person, but somebody who's hungry and ready to take over that business and they're ready to exit and they're ready to get that sale price of their business, they're ready to take that. So I would do some research before you do an asking price. I always say, and this is what I always say with my wife, I say when somebody is asking for something, let's say he wants $1 million and you're wanting to pay him $900,000, try to get him as close as possible to his asking price if it is reasonable. I have talked to people whose asking price is not reasonable at all, and I said, no deal, we're not going to do this. But if it is somewhat reasonable, if it's close to yours, I would try to get as close to their asking price as possible because like I said before, you want a working relationship with that owner. You don't want somebody who feels like they got cheated and is going to talk trash about you and feel like you got one over on them. The old saying, if you don't know who the sucker is on the deal, then it's you. That's not necessarily true in business. I think Warren Buffett said that, which there might be a little validity to it, but if you can both come to a mutual agreement where both parties feel good, then you can have a working relationship moving forward. So if you have any questions on how to approach specific owners or specific industries, reach out to me. My link is in the bio or comment below, and I'd be happy to help. If you like today's content, hit like and subscribe. Be happy to help you out down the road. Thanks.